Welcome, everybody. While everybody is logging in, I am going to say this a couple of times because it's going to take a second for everybody to get on. But if you could drop in the chat just where you are coming from. Are you from Narragansett or are you from Gardner? So I want to get you guys using the chat. Let us know where you're coming from. Coach Colleen told me she was going to take a poll and she was going to let me know which district showed up with more participants face to face. So let us know where you're from. Colleen, will you give me a heads up when everybody's in and I'll give us all an introduction and set us up?
I definitely will.
Ladies and
I think we have a good group of folks in. I'm letting more people in as they show up. So
cool.
we'll give folks just a minute.
All right. Hey, thank you guys so much for already getting into the chat and letting me know where you're from.
Pretty even so far. Gansett and Gardner.
I have to say, when the signups started coming through, I started to wonder if there were any men that worked at these school systems. It was only Chris and Mark that I first saw. So I'm happy to see some of the guys coming on tonight and joining us. Much appreciate that. Ladies, as always, I appreciate you being here as well too. Don't take that as an understatement. All right. Hey, I'm gonna get this thing started. Colleen, people still coming in?
Yep, shuffling in,
All
but I
right.
think you're good to get
Cool. All
started.
right. All right. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Coach Matt with Nutrition Plus CrossFit 696. I've got a couple of my team members here. Coach Chris is on, Coach Colleen is on, and that's who I can see so far on my screen. So if you have any pressing questions or want any information, please hit up the chat. I want to make this interactive. I don't want to just talk at you guys all night. So please jump into the chat. And if you want to unmute yourself, you have something to say or have a question we go through that's pressing, please feel free to share it. One thing that I would love to know before we jump into 3 easy steps to resetting your health is what are you hoping to learn tonight or what area are you looking to improve upon? We're coaches and we want to coach you where you're at. So if you can drop in the chat something that you want to improve upon, maybe it's you're dealing with a chronic disease already, hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, and you're looking for another mechanism to help support you along that journey, or maybe you were thinking about your retirement and wondering what that's going to look like and what are you going to feel like when that time comes. So anything that is specific as you can be, please drop that into the comments below. While a few more people are rolling on, I also want to say from the bottom of my heart and from my team, we appreciate you being here with us tonight. It's a Tuesday night. It's late in the afternoon. I am not going to take a lot of your time. I'm going to be here for about 30 minutes, and I want to be as thorough as possible in those 30 minutes. So I don't take it lightly that you carved out this time to spend with us to prioritize your health, which often gets overlooked in the rat race of day to day and trying to keep up with all of the tasks and demands. So, without further ado, as you guys are dropping in what you're looking to improve upon tonight into the chat, I'm going to get rolling here. We're going to discuss 3 steps to resetting your health. There's no better time than the present to make sustainable changes, and what better time than the new year in January. I know Coach Colleen sent out the workbook. I don't know if you guys had a chance to print it out or not, but writing down your answers to tonight's questions as we go through the assessment piece is going to make this very tangible and real for you. So if you didn't print out the workbook, that's okay. Have a piece of paper handy or even just your note section on your phone. And it's time to get honest with yourself. So a little background about us and the framework that we use. At Nutrition Plus CrossFit 696, we've partnered with Healthy Steps Nutrition to support our clients using a framework that's guided, tested, and proven. We believe something as fundamental as nutrition should be simple, but we know that helping you become the best and healthiest version of yourself isn't just about what you're eating or going to the gym for a few hours a week. You got to focus on a holistic approach. Addressing nutrition, yes, but also stress management, our mindset, support systems, and just our overall lifestyle in general. Uh, Partnering with Healthy Steps Nutrition between our program and the global franchise itself, we've touched the lives of over 50,000 people. Personally, we've seen clients get off of their diabetes meds, reverse their hypertension, turn around chronic disease by making habit changes. So I want you to reflect on this for a moment. Are you looking to create your own success story? Did you sign up for this and show up here tonight because you want to be our next success story for yourself? We know that while it's simple, it's far from easy. With all of the misinformation out there regarding fat diets, what's the best foods, what exercise program do I follow? It's no wonders we can all feel so overwhelmed and really just ready to give up in general. So step one for resetting your health is doing a self-assessment, taking an inner look, learning how to understand a holistic approach, and then creating a plan for success. So I want you to consider your health from a holistic perspective. Looking at the pie chart here, as we go through each of the areas, you'll have an opportunity to grade yourself. It's not time to grade the students, it's time to grade you, the student. So let's get started with the first pillar. First up is the plate method. The plate method is how we can address simplifying nutrition. We're able to create balance, work on portion control, eat whole foods, and reduce processed foods. And here's how we do that. If you look at the plate here, it's half of your plate is non-starchy veggies. These are things like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. If we can do half of our plate from non-starchy veg, that leaves the other quarter of our plate for lean proteins, and then the other quarter for starchy carbs. We don't want to leave out fats either. We call it like two thumbfuls of healthy fats. We prioritize plant-based fats, but there's room for modification here. And this is where a lot of like our dressings and cooking oils and things that we're preparing foods will come in. Having mostly whole foods will allow for us to get more vitamins, minerals, fiber, and better overall energy. So go ahead and rate yourself. And like I said, you can do this in the workbook or you can do this on your notes section on your phone. How would you rate your nutrition on a scale from A to F? A is, man, I'm getting veggies at almost every single meal. Or F would be closer to eating on the go all the time, mostly processed foods. Where do you stand? And again, be honest with yourself. A quick note on the plate method. It doesn't have to look like that on your plate. So I like to do a lot of casseroles and a lot of like stir fries, things that are all mixed together. But if I were to sort of dissect each component, would the portion sizes fit the plate like that? If anybody wants to drop in the chat to make this more interactive, I'd love to know where you guys are rating yourselves here. So we know where to spend a little more time. If everyone's an F, then maybe this is where we focus tonight. So please feel free to dive in and drop that in the chat. The next pillar is stress management and mindset. Since none of us undergo stress on a daily basis, and I'm kidding, what I am going to ask is how are you managing the stress that you're undergoing? Did you know that acute stress is actually okay for your body, but it's chronic stress that's not good and can lead to disease? It impairs our immune system. It causes us to have a harder time with weight loss and so many other things. We actually grow from stress in the gym. When we put physical load on our body, that's how our muscles grow. But when we're constantly getting beat down by stress, that's where we lack the opportunity to grow. So rate yourself on that scale from A to F. Cortisol, caused by stress, it's your body's stress hormone. When it's high, it makes it harder for your body to lose weight and causes it to store more fat. How many of you guys are taking the time for self-care? Self-care is about taking your power back. It's important to take a pause and pay attention to yourself instead of running on fumes 24/7. So if you have stress in your life, think about this. How are you managing it? Maybe you're practicing positive affirmations. Maybe you're like Dr. Chris Casavan, who's doing meditation. Maybe it's intentional quiet time. Or maybe it's yoga, like Mark Pellegrino is doing. Rate yourself. A to F, where do you stand in managing your stress? While you take a second to take a look at yourself and reflect for a moment, the next pillar is sleep. This is optimal for health, especially hormone health, which helps reset when you're asleep, helps you build muscle, store memory, and promote weight loss. Research shows that we can benefit from 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. But did you know that 35% of adults report sleeping less than 7 hours each night? So when you think about that, how many hours of sleep do you get on average every single night? You take a moment to rate yourself there. A would be I'm getting 7 to 8 hours without question, have great sleep routines and habits. You got the clap on light, like you saw in the video, it's lights out. Or maybe you're staying up way too late, watching Netflix far longer than you should, and then getting up super early to check those emails and respond back to all the things. So be honest with yourself. One of my personal favorites, the pillar of exercise. It's recommended that you get 30 minutes of daily movement. And if you don't have a gym membership, that's no problem. Even a 15-minute walk after meals can have a significant impact on reducing your blood sugar. Taking a walk outside offers even greater benefits. There's a ton of research supporting nature therapy and the advantage of breaking up movement throughout the day. As a bonus, adding in strength training at least 3 days per week can be another great place to start. In fact, we like to address Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's book called Forever Strong. She discusses not having an obesity epidemic in our country, but a lack of muscle epidemic. People aren't getting enough protein throughout the day, so they're not building enough muscle, which increases the risk for chronic disease as they age. So, where do you fall when it comes to exercise? Are you getting daily movement? Are you spending most of your time at your desk or sedentary on the couch or in the car? Be honest. If you're not getting 30 minutes of activity most days of the week, you're going to be down closer to C or D, and that's okay. This is all about assessing yourself realistically so we can take action. This is probably one of the most important pieces that's often overlooked is our support systems. Research shows we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So take a moment. This is hard to do. This is when we sit with our clients in our office. This is usually where we spend some time. Who are the 5 people who are closest to you? Where do you spend the most time? For some people, they scratch their head and say, I don't even know if I have 5 people. But do that right now. Think about your inner circle, whether it's your family, your coworkers. Now, I want to do a little activity with you. Imagine that you're a crab. You're walking along, it's no big deal. You get picked up and you get dropped in the bucket. You've been collected, which would be fine because you can climb back out and you can go on your merry way. And a week later, you get picked back up again and you get dropped in the bucket. But this time when you get put in that bucket, there's other crabs there with you. Your peers are among you. And when you go to do like you did before, climb yourself out of that bucket, they reach up and they pull you back down and they hold you there. So ask yourself, if they can't escape, why should you? Why should you experience success if no one else around you has? Well, think about it. If you're surrounded by crabs that are pulling you back in the bucket every single time you're trying to escape, your likelihood of getting out is super low. So as you think about the 5 people, maybe you wrote them down or maybe you just have them in your head. Are they pulling you back into the bucket? Or are they helping you out of the bucket, giving you a little boost from the bottom? Or maybe they have no impact one way or the other. They're just there watching. So take a few minutes and give yourself a little rating on your inner circle. Are you surrounding yourself with crabs that are building you up, pulling you out of the bucket, or ones that are pulling you back in to hold you back from the success that you deserve? And again, be honest, rate yourself. A to F, A would be I'm around just super positive influences, and F would be I need to reflect here. Then we look at lifestyle. So lifestyle includes all of the extracurricular activities like alcohol consumption, the daily choices that we make every day, and then how we handle social gatherings. So here is an example. The ultimate goal is to make healthy choices the easy choices. Or if you can navigate barriers, for instance, having cookies or candy on your counter or in the break room makes it really easy to mindlessly consume those things. But it's just as easy to have healthy snacks, pre-cut vegetables, fruit, and whole foods that could be readily available too. Putting them at eyes level in the pantry, toward the front, or in the refrigerator. When you open it up, simply as you can hack the environment to make a healthy choice, the easy choice. But you have to be mindful of it. Things like have an accountability partner at the gym. If you have a friend who's going to the gym and you team up with them and say, hey, I want to start going with you, or maybe it's just it's going for walks. You say, hey, I want to go with you. I'm going to set my alarm. Call me when you get up and we're going to do this together. You have a much higher likelihood of you saying, I'm going to get up and go for a walk tomorrow and just sort of hoping that it happens. So go ahead, take a moment, rate yourself in your workbook. Are you making the healthy choice the easy choice most of the time, none of the time, or some of the time? That's kind of like your C or B. Our research study has shown that healthy lifestyles can actually add 9 additional years of life, where 60%, that's way over half of the population, has chronic disease. This is allowing you those years back. Typically, those final years of retirement, you want to be able to live them free of chronic disease and independently. Sort of the biggest contributing factors in the research study, we looked at BMI, which is a height to weight ratio, how many people were active 30 minutes per day or not, or how much alcohol they were consuming, which impacts their sleep and recoverability, or how many people are smoking. But it also prioritizes sleep, stress management, and those support systems like we talked about. We want to make health a way of life. We want to make being healthy cool again. So all of these things influence each other. It's natural that through life we go through seasons where we must focus on one thing or another at any given time, depending on where we're at. But that's what life is about. It's about change and adapting to those changes to bring about our healthiest being. So take a moment, think about these areas. How are you doing? Which one of these pillars are you absolutely nailing and you have down? Are your daily actions in line with what you're wanting for yourself? Or which ones do you need the most help with? So the first step to resetting our health is doing that self-assessment. And you can do this at any time where you are in your life. We're doing it now here today. But at any time, think holistically about how you're managing your health and well-being. After you've done that, pick the one thing. What is the one thing that you want to focus on? Most people are going to feel overwhelmed because there's so much information out there, especially with social media. A habit-based approach is much more effective. In today's world, we want instant results. I want Netflix and I want it now. And we try to just do way too many things, like 75 things for 75 days. Maybe you've done that and fell victim. We go all in, and then it's all out, skipping a bunch of small steps along the way, often ending right back where we started, or even worse off than when we started before. Did you know that our habits are patterns of behavior that we have ingrained to the point that they're automatic responses, happening consistently in certain situations or contexts, and they're mostly below our level of awareness? 40% of our daily actions are automated or automatic. I'd venture to say that for many people, those 40% are not serving you and what you want for your health and wellness. Your habits become your routine, and your routine becomes your lifestyle. Are your habits moving you toward your goal or further away from it? For most of us, our intentions are great, but then there's roadblocks, temptations, or things that get in the way. That's life. Think about building a house built on a solid foundation. Workers lay stud by stud to make the house amazing from the foundation up. The same goes for your life. Those daily habits, those individually laid studs, are what we become. So slowing down and focusing on one thing will absolutely speed up your progress. Think about the last time you tried to lose weight. How many things did you try simultaneously? For most people, it's a lot. And I've done that. I've been a victim of that. Instead, we find way more value focusing on one thing at a time. After you've done your assessment, step one. Step two, pick your one thing. Step three, one of the biggest ones is finding your tribe. You should have your five people like we talked about. You should also have a tribe that can connect you through a common thread. There are so many other options, such as connecting with those who are ahead of you in your health and wellness journey. Whether it's through reading a book or finding a mentor, you should always have someone who's one step ahead that you can confide in and, most importantly, learn from. Because after all, why reinvent the wheel? If you align yourself with someone who is many steps ahead of you, you can fast track your progress and reach your health and wellness goals much faster. Having a coach or a mentor can help you make those changes fast. It's like having a tutor for education. Then you can benefit from having the cheerleaders to support you and encourage you. And most importantly, when you get to the point where you can have some students learn from you. So, who's in your tribe? And ultimately, why is this important to you, anyways? Why are you wanting to make a change? Why did you show up tonight to hear this talk? You need to be able to tell them why and then tell them how they can support you on the journey. The why is the emotional attachment that leads to results because it's meaningful to you. So make it meaningful and let somebody else that's important to you know about it. So now that we've laid out the three steps to resetting your health, I want to kind of shift our focus to our three core principles. And these are just easy, simple ways to make healthier choices on a day to day. First one is focusing on whole foods. You've heard this, right? Whole foods. And I don't mean the store. I mean actual whole foods. What does that even mean? I explained it to my 7-year-old and now my 3-year-old. It's foods that were living, breathing, or grew from the earth in some way, shape, or form. It's pretty simple. Like, where did broccoli come from? Oh, the garden. Great. Where did Skittles come from? And then there's this pause because we have to think about that. So we can determine what's a whole food versus what's a processed food. Using the plate method will help you reshape how you form your meals. The second step, or I'm sorry, the second principle is focusing on balanced meals and snacks. So start with prioritizing whole foods, but then can you balance those macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs at every single meal? So pairing each meal and snack with all three macronutrients will keep you fuller longer. Most people will feel their best while fueling their busy days and activities with 40% of carbohydrate, 30% of fat, and 30% of protein. Though individual breakdowns can change based on the demand or the day-to-day life and also the goal of the client, whether it's muscle gain or weight loss. But those are just simple ways to break down the macronutrient balance. I'll say that again: 40% carbs, 30% fat, 30% protein. People often say, well, I thought carbs were bad. No, carbs are not bad. Here's what we're going to suggest, and it's the only exclusive principle that we follow. That's limiting the number of processed carbs and sugar that we should consume. The average person consumes over 150 pounds of sugar annually. That's 46 teaspoons daily. It's not surprising. Sugar is super addicting and it feels hidden in almost every food product you find in a package. You can find that out just by turning it around and reading the label. Oftentimes, it's even hidden as different things like corn syrup, and that can include things like um, rice syrup. So, being mindful about the label when you're reading it, now it's kind of simplified because it's we're forced to actually put how many grams of added sugar. So you can also look right there on the label just to see. So here's where I want to reel you guys back in and get some interaction. As we wrap up, I want you to take a moment or two and reflect on everything that we just covered. Which tip stood out to you the most? I need you to share your thoughts here. Which tip, through resetting our health, through the principles that we covered, what was like your aha, or when you think back, what stands out? If you take away one thing tonight, we've done our job. Share that in the comments. I want to see where everybody's at. And if you have any questions, now is a good little break for you to ask those. Coach Colleen, while they're responding here, did you get a tally of how many from Gardner, how many from Gansett?
I think it was about 50-50.
Yeah. Man, I'm looking through these now, guys. I love this. I want to learn to eat more of the correct foods to be able to lose the weight and keep it off. How to exercise with chronic joint pain and stress reduction. Man, that is such a big one. All right, getting down to the takeaways. More exercise, identify sports. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Think about it. If you're not engaging in the chat right now, if you were the teacher and you were asking your students to do the work, would you want them to drop that in right here? I'm the teacher, you're the student. Do what you would want your students to do. Plate method and stress management. The plate method, we did a challenge last year, and a client of ours who owns an insurance company had one of her clients walk in. The guy was down 50 pounds. She goes, "Oh my God." I'm just going to say Joe. I forget his name. "Joe, you look great." She's, "What have you been doing?" He goes, "Oh, my wife did this challenge at the gym and she started doing this thing called the plate method and it apparently works. I lost 50 pounds." So if you don't think this stuff can be that simple, if you prioritize it, believe me, it works. I love it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for jumping in and dropping those in the chat here. So, a little bit about our nutrition coaching program. We want you to know that we're here to help you stay accountable to sticking with healthy habits because we told you we know support systems are so valuable. It's also our aim, like I said when we started, to make nutrition simple for you. And then again, provide you the support to achieve it and to achieve success and follow through. Before I assume that there's any questions and I start answering these, do you have any questions on anything that we went through tonight? If you do, you can either unmute yourself, feel free. I'd love to hear your voices, or just drop it in the chat. So, Coach Colleen, stop me if anybody pops in with a question. I'm going to just kind of shine some light here on some of the important ones that we get. Why should I focus on one habit at a time? What about two or three? Like, the most common we get in our office when people get success is, I really didn't think it could be this simple, just working on one thing. And here's why. Research shows by only focusing on one thing at a time, there's a greater than 80% success rate in maintaining that habit a year from now. If you do just one thing, like let's just say it's drink 4 glasses of water or drink water with every meal, and you do that one thing consistently, you're at an 80% chance of still doing that a year from now versus trying to add two things. That likelihood decreases to less than 30%. And it gets even worse if you try to do three things, it drops to 5%. So, as I said, we've proven to our clients that one thing can truly make an impact. But I encourage you, if you don't think so, try it. Just change one thing when you leave here tonight and just see the domino effect or snowball effect that it can create.
Hey, Coach. There's a question.
Yes. Yeah, fire.
Is this more about calorie deficit or is this a combination of things if this was your one thing?
Mm, that's a really great question. Is this more about calorie deficit? I think it's more about calorie quality than it is anything else to start. Because, even if I create a caloric deficit and I do that through ultra processed foods, um, am I fueling my body optimally? Am I getting all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that I need? And the answer is most likely not. So if we're just trying to create a calorie deficit for this goal of weight loss, but we're doing it through a non-whole food diet, I don't think that's going to leave you feeling your optimum and your best. Any of my other coaches want to jump in on that one? So, and let me also say this. One of the most common things for people who have a weight loss goal and are carrying extra weight with them, they're usually vastly under eating. That's like 9 times out of 10. And they have this thought that, like, if I eat less, I'll lose more. That's not how this works. And when we tell people how many calories that actually should be a deficit for them, the one common thing we hear is, I can never eat that much food.
Yeah, I agree with that, Matt. I think you're exactly right. That's where I was going to go. Is 9 out of 10 people aren't eating enough some of the time, and that's one of the things that we find. And when they start to eat more, their metabolism revs up, and they start to burn more.
Absolutely.
So I hope that answers that question. I wouldn't focus on a deficit. I would focus on balancing your macronutrients, getting enough protein, getting those vegetables onto your plate, and eating whole foods. And then see how you feel and how the goal goes from there.
Another couple
Which,
more questions, Coach.
yeah, let's
If
go.
you're
I love it.
ready. We're firing. We're rapid fire.
I love it.
When should you focus on that new one thing or a new goal? Like when's a good time?
There's no better time than the present. And make it so simple that you can't miss. If it's not a good time to do it now, then it's not a good one thing. So pick another one.
So in terms of, I think the question, and clarify, Molly, if we're misinterpreting the question, but do you mean like when you have achieved that goal, when is it time to move on to the next one thing? Like how do you know?
Ah, when,
Yeah.
yeah. When do you habit stack? With our clients, that totally varies on the person. But if you've been really executing it for 2 to 3 weeks, and then you can add one more thing in, at the point where it becomes automatic for you, and you don't need some accountability piece, like you don't need the timer on your phone to tell you it's time to drink water. You're already doing that. Now you own that habit, right? And you don't need your alarm to go off at 8 o'clock at night to tell you it's time to go to bed because you're already getting into bed because that's your new routine. You own that habit. So the answer is you own it, then you can add the next one to it. And it's all, here's another good thing, it's always easier to sort of habit stack. Um, so I have a bedtime at 9 o'clock every night, let's just say, but I'm finding myself waking up throughout the night, and I'm going to use a sleep mask that we saw in the video just to help keep the light really dark. Every time I set my alarm, I'm going to put on my sleep mask. We call it stacking habits on things we're already doing. Or every time I have a meal, I'm going to have a glass of water. That will force me to have more water. So tie them into things that you're already doing, and that can be super helpful because they're triggers that trigger our automatic responses and help them become ingrained habits.
How do I lose weight without losing muscle? That's one we get really, really often.
That's an amazing question. We have an amazing piece of equipment at our facility called an in-body scan, which can actually break down the number on the scale, which is made up of how much water weight we're holding, how much body fat we're holding, how much lean mass we're holding. And it can also show a demonstration of skeletal muscle, which has been really huge for people. So to answer the question, prioritizing protein, if you prioritize protein, and that's where you may shift from 40% protein instead of 40% carbs, protein and from whole food sources, I should add, is less likely to lead to an increase in body fat and more likely to continue to promote lean muscle and skeletal muscle gain. So prioritize protein, do your strength training, And all of those things will help your metabolism and help fuel that body fat reduction while improving that strength gain. We've had people come in after a month of coaching and the scale hasn't moved. And they're like, oh my God, the number on the scale it's not going anywhere. This isn't working. But we look at that scan and we can say, you're up 3 pounds of body weight. You're down, 2 pounds of lean, or you're down 2 pounds of body fat, and you're up or you're down 1% of body fat. We can show that, like, though the number on the scale didn't move, it's impacted by where the things like, am I retaining water at this stage? Um, or did I actually replace it with lean muscle? And we can demonstrate that. So that's important. I hope that answered that question.
We see a lot of shifts in body composition versus, you know, like Matt's saying, and we have the lots of tools that we can measure that in terms of, your physical progressions both in the gym and your just longevity. You go for walks with your kids, your grandkids. We can measure those things, lots of different metrics, just in your lifestyle and using the tools that we have available to us. So very helpful.
Any other questions in the chat? This question that's on the screen right now is going to tie into that same thing with some even more valuable answers. So if there's no other questions coming in the chat, I'll go on with this and say, what if I'm not losing weight? How do I know if I'm making progress? If somebody steps on the scale after 3 months at the gym and like, I didn't lose any weight, this was worthless. That's heartbreaking, because what about your lab work? What about your blood sugar levels, your A1C? What about all the things that you can't see when you step on the scale, like how your clothes are fitting, or what about how's your mood? Most people that leave the gym never tell me they're in a worse mood than when they got there. They're usually always in a better mood. And so to just rate your success on the number on the scale is what holds most people back. How about how strong are you getting? What weights are you lifting? How can you carry more groceries into the house than you could before? Or are you finally carrying your groceries into the house and you don't need somebody to help you like you used to? Like you said, Colin, being with your kids a little bit longer. And then, are you sleeping better? A lot of people, when they add more activity and find out that their sleep actually improves. So one habit feeds into the next one. I I've wanted to tell you guys just a couple of our great success stories. First of all, our program, when we partnered with Healthy Steps Nutrition, we did that because we now have the credibility of being backed by registered dietitians. So the information that we're providing and presenting isn't just from the internet. It's not from some books you read. This is coming from dietitians at a franchisee down in Florida, and they're really good friends of ours now as we've gone through this journey with them. Susan, who's on the left, Susan owns a farm. She came to us a few years ago with scoliosis and chronic back pain. And since working with us on fitness and nutrition, she's had more energy than ever. She thought she was going to need to hire a helping hand around the farm, especially as she was aging. But she's found herself able to keep up with all of her daily demands, which is huge for her to be able to get work done around her farm. Same thing with Al. Al came to us 2 years ago. He's a general contractor and he was planning to retire because he couldn't keep up with the demands of work anymore. And even more heartbreaking, he was literally planning his finances for his wife, getting everything in order because he felt like his heart condition was going to be his demise. His sister sent him to us and said, can you guys help him? And of course, we took him under our wing. And since meeting us, now he's doing more houses in general contracting than he did in his last 2 years before retirement. And he just had his knee replaced and he bounced right back, and his quality of life is just absolutely improving day to day. And Jackie's one of my favorite. She's a busy mom who learned how to prioritize balanced meals and snacks, and more importantly, not just for herself but for her kids and her husband as well. Now they're all getting healthier together. The most exciting part about this evening's presentation, and not sure if you guys have heard this or not, but we're aiming to launch a 6-week nutrition challenge for accountability support just for these two districts at Narragansett and Gardner. Uniquely, we wanted to create a healthy competition between the two neighboring districts in order to build an even bigger support system for success. The great news is you can't really lose. Well, maybe some pounds and inches, but when you aim to become healthier, that's always a win. This isn't about being perfect either. When we do these kinds of challenges, you earn points every time you incorporate daily movement, stress management strategies, balanced nutrition, and when you prioritize sleep. So you'll become more accountable and you'll be able to track how you're doing in all of those areas. With this challenge, you'll get 3 sessions with your coach to access our exclusive app where you'll get all of our communication, habit tracking, and really all of our touch points between each other as a group and one-on-one with our coach. When you take advantage of this challenge, we're hoping you can meet us in-house, but this can all be done on Zoom too. We know your schedules are crazy. If you come in-house, you can take advantage of the body scan at the beginning and at the end of it. If you're open to it, you don't have to. Nobody has to do that. We do measurements. You can even do progress photos if you want to. But we've had tremendous success when we do these short 6-week challenges, especially because of the group atmosphere. It can be motivating when it comes to tracking progress over time by using the scans, the measurements, the photos, or anything that you find motivating along the way. The best part of this is I've done the homework. 80% of this cost would be reimbursable through both districts' healthcare plans. And it's also HSA and FSA eligible too. I don't even know if every one of you know this, but with your health insurance, they give you back $200 each year, not just for fitness, but also for a weight loss nutrition-based program, which we could easily call this challenge and get you credit for. So if you're leaving that money on the table, this is a perfect example for you to explore ways that every single year you can be doing something like that. Also in the challenge, you're going to be getting messages from the dietitians at Healthy Steps Nutrition, from everything from support system help, stress management, and sleep strategies, plus over 100 recipes that are super simple that you'll have access to. Are there any questions about the challenge that I just laid out for you guys? And let me just say this. It's going to be like Narragansett and then Gardner as the two systems gaining points. But again, this isn't head to head. It's more so together to see if you guys can build each other up, being those crabs that are building each other up inside the bucket. Are there any questions? And Colleen, maybe you can also add anything that I might have forgotten to add about what we do with our challenge.
I think you captured the majority of it. But we've had a lot of, not only have the clients had success, but just us as coaches, we have a lot of fun with it because it's a really engaging environment. Everybody just stays active as a group, and these things also have the possibility to stay on as a group engagement as well after the challenges too, which is really fun. And Molly, I saw you wrote in the chat, I know we all win, but how do we win? Which
Great
I think
question.
is really fun. And Matt can explain that too. But so it is, I mean, it's a challenge in the sense that you guys, will be there will be leaderboards and things like that, but you do all win because everybody is going to get something out of it. And it's not, like the frequently asked questions that Chris says, at a girl, that Matt went through, the FAQs. There's benefits to everybody, and there's something for everybody. There's a lot that happens during
I
these
know
challenges.
I know there was a concern about the sizes of the two districts, and we have already managed that. What we're going to do is use the percentage of how many people sign up from Gardner, how many people sign up from Narragansett. So it'll be a percentage base or a scaled base when you start to earn points. As I said, every individual will earn points each time they check off a habit from, it'll be something nutritionally focused. There'll be, did I get 7+ hours of sleep? Did I get 30+ minutes of movement? And did I do 10+ minutes of stress management? So each time you do something each day, you'll be able to check that off. And so you'll be getting up to 5 points every single day. And it's not about being perfect. It's just looking at it and saying at the end of the week, man, I didn't do anything for my stress management habit this week. Maybe next week I'm going to attack that. So here's where you start thinking about that one thing based on it's the one thing I'm not necessarily doing. Um, So you'll get points. All of those points will get added up. Here's the really cool part when we say everybody wins. If you do better than 70% at the end of the week, everybody that does better than 70% at the end of the week gets entered into our Wheel of Fortune drawing to win cool prizes from local business sponsors. So you don't have to be perfect. You just have to do better than 70% and you get entered in to win. We normally get like gift cards from the Ale House, Girls on the Common, and then massages. I mean, we've done us fitness equipment, all the things. So there's usually a fun prize that you can win, and all you have to do is make an effort to get entered to win. At the end of the challenge, yes, we will absolutely figure out, okay, was it Narragansett or was it Gardner that stuck to their habits the most? But I also say this, the winner is also leveraged on who had the most participation in the group chat and with their coaches. So if you're just doing the things, but we're not seeing any of that come through on our end, that leverages against you. So just participating gets you points. Any other questions? This is a great question, Molly. Thank you for asking.
There's some chat talking going back and forth. Who's gonna make sure that Becky is not cheating? There's all sorts of chatting going back and forth, but there's additional offers that Matt's gonna talk about as well.
I love
So
it.
the
Yeah.
fun doesn't stop.
So we wanted to tell you about that. That is going to be going out to you guys in an email this week where you'll be able to sign up for that. There's also a QR code if you're like hungry for this and you want to sign up. The QR code, I believe, will be at the end of this, Colleen, because this QR code right here this is for 2 weeks of free access. I'm going to start at the bottom. What else is included? We wanted to give you guys every opportunity to take advantage of getting yourself healthy. And so we're opening up 2 weeks of all access to our fitness concepts facility and also our nutrition plus CrossFit 696 facility, which gets you over 80 plus instructor led classes per week. Also, we're going to be putting the link in here for a free session of personal training, a free goal setting session, and a free in-body scan. So many things that you can take advantage of for free because we want to give you the tools for success. Fitness Concepts opened up and wanted to remind all of your Gardner employees, and this is all of City Hall, DPW, you guys all get our corporate rate of $39.95 a month. They're waiving the enrollment fee and no commitment period. So if you wanted to do the 6-week challenge, which we're going to start on January 25th, you could sign up for the gym for those 6 weeks and cancel at any time. For Narragansett, because you guys don't have that corporate rate, which I can talk with Molly and maybe we can get in touch with City Hall, but the more people we get from Templeton, essentially, the better we can get of a rate for you guys. But you guys would be in at $49.95 a month. And again, that's no enrollment and no commitment period. So you can cancel at any time. Our normal $49.95 is a 6-month commitment period. We don't want to hold anybody to that. We want to give you tools that you can use to succeed. So, Colleen, are you dropping in those links into the chat for training? We want you guys to click those links and meet with a coach. We can show you some things to do. Even if you don't join us here at the gym, we can show you some things to do at home. But I do strongly suggest you scan that QR code and take advantage of these 2 free weeks. This is a no-brainer. You can use those 2 weeks or start those 2 weeks anytime between now and January 25th. That's how long we're going to keep that offer rolling. So there is a little call to action there with a time demand for you. So don't sleep on it unless it's 7 to 8 hours every single month. Any questions on those offers before we talk about just a few things and close this up for the night? And if anybody needs that QR code back up, let us know. We can drop it in the chat. What if my goal isn't to lose weight? A lot of people say, oh, that's a weight loss, but it's not a weight loss program. When we talk about healthy habits, we're talking about improving your entire life. Maybe you want to get off medication for things like high cholesterol or osteoporosis or high blood pressure or diabetes. Maybe it's performance goals you have in mind. You could run a 5K for the first time ever this year or PR your 5K. Sky is the limit when you make health a priority. Maybe you want to just be the healthiest version of yourself so you can truly enjoy your retirement and live your best life. If you're not thinking about what your retirement's going to look like, and even bigger, if you don't think the habits that you're making that you're executing now are going to make an impact on your retirement, think again. That could be your best investment in a retirement plan. It's healthy habits now. Maybe it's just being a role model for your family and the students whose lives are impacted by your everyday influence. Losing weight can be a mere byproduct of healthy habits, but so can increased energy, improved strength, and improved hormone balance. When we do challenges and even when we do group workouts in the gym, there's always that thought of, but I don't want to hold anybody back. So I don't think this is for me. And all I want to say to that is that it's an overall learning experience for every single one of us. We all win when we support each other on becoming healthier together. We're all starting at a different point in the journey. You'll have a professional coach. You'll have a layer of support and accountability with the group. This is really just about doing your best. It's not about if you can win. And again, holding yourself back is only holding you back longer than you need to. So we encourage you to do this for you and not because you don't want to hold somebody back. So as promised, here's the link. If you scan the QR code, this will get you signed up. We're going to send this out in email. I'm going to strongly encourage that if you are interested in seriously making a change, joining this challenge and doing this as a team with the support system we're laying out, sign up sooner than later because my team has to get with each and every single one of the participants before the challenge kicks off. We're going to have an in-house kickoff seminar on the 25th. That's kind of the targeted date right now. But we've got to get everybody in with a coach for 20 to 30 minutes of a goal setting session to go over how to use the app and to do an in-body and measurements if they want to do that. So don't wait. The sooner you get in, the faster you're going to have priority of scheduling and it'll be much easier for you. Because if everyone waits till like the 25th, then we'll have to push it out a little bit further. And again, getting healthy should happen sooner than later. So we encourage you to scan now if you're ready to join forces with your fellow peers and make 2025 your healthiest year yet. We hope you'll take advantage of this offer. And again, I can't tell you from the bottom of my heart how much we appreciate you taking the time. This went a little longer than I thought it would. You guys asked some really great questions. How much we appreciate you being here and really prioritize your health, even if the one step was just showing up tonight. Before we sign off, I would just like to answer any final questions. And Colleen, if there's anything I missed, please jump in and interject here.
I don't think you missed anything. Sherry asked if the links will be on the app. I just lost my AirPods. Some of the link, sorry, the sign up link for the nutrition challenge is on the Nutrition Plus CrossFit 696 app, because that's one of our plans that's available to members right through the app. So that is available to sign up right through the app. The free intro PT session should be through our website, as well as the in-body scan. That should be through there. So that should be on the app as well. So some of those should be on the app as well. Yes. And then the Fitness Concepts one is an exclusive link just for you guys. So that will be just in the email.
Oh, did you put the promo code on there? Educator?
Oop.
Oh, that's an important one. When you sign up for that 2 week, you want to make sure I think it's all capital, was how it came through as educator.
Education. Sorry about that.
Yes, education. Sorry. Yes, correct. All capital. That's the promo code that will sign you up for 2 weeks at zero cost to you.
I did actually go to college, guys.
Before we sign off, if there's any other questions, what we would love to do is your participation in this. If you can get your face on the screen with a big smile, Coach Colleen's going to do a screenshot of all the educators in these 2 districts that carved out a Tuesday night at 6 p.m.
Stop sharing, Matt. Stop sharing.
To learn to prioritize their health. So I'm gonna stop there. Cool. If you don't mind, get your bright smiling face on. We'd love to see you.
There's everybody. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Beautiful.
I was hoping everyone was going to sign off when I said that. Appreciate you guys.
That's awesome. The app shows 3 credits for goal setting follow-up sessions. Is the initial intro session one of these 3? No, it's not one of those 3. I will send you a
Colin, was that a question that came through?
No, that's just my brain trying to
Okay.
figure it out
Okay.
because it's close to
All
my
right. Hey,
bedtime.
let's get a quick smile and 3, 2, 1, in it to win it. 3, 2, 1, in it to win it.
Thanks, guys. Awesome. Looking forward to working with you guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. Becky and Molly have my contact information too. If you want to reach out or have any further questions when we get off, every time I finish a class, somebody always sticks around and asks a question. I'm going to be on for a couple minutes here. If you want to stick around, love to stay and chat with you. So thank you again. We appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Chris, thank you. Nice job.
Thank you.
It's all fun. Thanks, Matt.
Doing great.
Thank you, guys. Hey, guys, great video.
Thanks,
I
Mark.
appreciate your time and I appreciate
Oh,
your
God.
energy and hyping this up. Becky, I see you
Hi,
back there.
Becky. Mark,
Right.
didn't I see you like 13, 14 hours ago or something
Yes,
like
you
that?
did.
Oh, okay.
You're really moonlighting tonight.
Woo, that's close to my bedtime.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Becky, you're muted. You can come off mute.
Oh, Becky's muted.
That's the best thing I've ever
That
heard.
is- I
Those
know.
words should be on
Did you give Chris
those
Cassidy
words should be on a
control?
t-shirt. Becky was muted. I love it.
What was the app again? I missed that part.
HSN.
HSN?
If the app is Healthy Steps Nutrition, and when you get access to the app, when you sign up for the
okay.
challenge, you'll
That's
get when you sign up for the challenge,
Okay.
you'll get an email notification when you've been entered into the app, and then you'll get access to that. Also, though, we have a second app. So we have our CrossFit 696 app, and that's where you sign up for the challenge. So, or in the
Okay.
QR code, that's where it's going to take you. The QR codes is automatically going to our app.
Okay. Awesome.
Becky, what did you do? Go room to room with people and make them sign up right in front of you and get
It
on
was
here right
not, tell me, it was not 50-50, Colleen. That's by design. We
That's what
definitely had
happened.
more.
I already have people calling me,
I
telling me
know we had more.
I know what happened. Yeah.
It was Gardner. It
People
was
in the
like
street, Becky
11.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I have people in the streets who told me.
I love it.
I can't lose. I won't lose.
So I want to organize with Colleen an email that we can send out. And I think if you guys are cool sending it to everybody again, not just the people who signed up, we're happy to make these offers to everybody so nobody feels left out. So definitely I would love to do that. So we'll write the email up. I want to put the YouTube video up from tonight's talk and